U.S. President Joe Biden assured that America will defend every inch of NATO territory. He argued for continued assistance to Ukraine to avoid the need for U.S. military involvement and even greater costs in the future.
So if we don't stop Putin's appetite for power and control in Ukraine, he won't limit himself just to Ukraine. Putin's already threatened to remind Poland that their Western land was a gift from Russia. One of his top advisors, a former president of Russia, has called Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania Russia's Baltic provinces.
The speech in the Oval Office at the White House was meant to justify the transfer of more funds for military support to Ukraine and Israel. The reason is growing opposition in Congress and waning support in the public.
Hamas and Putin represent different threats, but they share this in common. They both want to completely annihilate a neighboring democracy, completely annihilate it.
According to media reports, the package to be requested by the White House to Congress today is expected to be $24 billion more. The presidential administration requested the funds several months ago. The amount of the total package is expected to be $100 billion. Part of the aid will go to Israel, Taiwan, and to secure the U.S. borders. Israel has been a key U.S. ally in the Middle East for many years, and in the case of Ukraine, the Russian invasion has made it a great opportunity for the Americans to finally bring about a very significant weakening of the Russian Federation's armed forces after nearly 80 years of Cold War.
Znaczącego osłabienia sił zbrojnych Federacji Rosyjskiej.
According to Professor Marcin Szewczak, by providing more support to Israel, the U.S. will be forced to reduce its existing support for Ukraine. Part of the reasoning behind this is that the United States will also be involved in assisting Israel in what is perhaps a more protracted and spilling conflict in the Middle East, and therefore there will be a greater burden on the other allies of the North Atlantic Pact, mainly the European ones, to help Ukraine. The mention in the U.S. president's address of Poland's geopolitical situation is also a signal sent to the incoming government. So far, Poland has been heavily involved in supporting Ukraine and modernizing the army. The prospect of a new government coming to power may raise concerns in Washington. Warsaw may turn to Berlin, which is anxious for a reset in relations with Moscow. The United States is fully aware of the enormous importance of the security that Poland implements. Unlike the civic platform, Polish People's Party coalition government of 2007 to 2015, when military units were dismantled, Donald Tusk sabotaged negotiations on the missile shield, and Polish and Russian services increased mutual cooperation. There was a Russian agency in Donald Tusk's apparatus that cooperated with the Federal Security Service and worked to support Russia and foster the Russian-German alliance. At the time when Law and Justice took over from Civic Platform, we were dealing with a paper state. The institutions of the Polish state were in an extreme and critical situation. And today it is a state that has endured a whole series of very aggressive actions, a state that is subjected to an ongoing brutal hybrid war. The U.S. president, in his address, clearly pointed to Poland as the keystone of security in Europe. The role used to be indivisibly held by Germany. The West cannot feel safe if Poland is in the clutches of the East, and the East cannot attack the West if it does not first conquer Poland. It is Poland's position that dictates that Poland be strong, because if Poland is weak, it becomes the subject of international bargaining. According to estimates, since the beginning of Russia's aggression on February 24, 2022, the United States has provided Ukraine with more than $66 billion in aid, of which $43 billion has been spent on military support. To date, the U.S. has spent more only during the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, which consumed more than $4 trillion.